Hello and welcome fellow motorsports fans. It's been a brilliant few days of racing and I am here to tell you all about it. Today's highlights include the return of ELMS, SuperFormula and a crucial Formula E weekend. Off we go. ELMS is finally back and we should all be glad. The LMP2 battle in that series never disappoints and is a sign of hope for everyone worried about the class leaving WEC next year. Racing Team Turkey had a fantastic chance to double up with another overall win despite being a Pro-Am entry after the IDAC Sport 28 had a puncture with just over 20 minutes to go, dropping them from the lead to P6. Louis Delatraz lacked the ties to defend his position though, and had to concede the top positions to the Algarve Pro Racing 25 and the Duquesne 30. Still a comfortable Pro-Am victory at least. The 25 in particular was rapid all day long anyway, with Kiffin Simpson running in P2 throughout the opening, allowing the team to jump Alex Lynn up to the lead during the pit cycle, so it is only deserved that James Allen managed to recover the position. The 30 also looked strong throughout the day, although seemingly on an off strat in terms of tyres. Nico Pino delivered in the opening stages, while veterans René Binder and Neil Yarni easily kept the car in contention until the end. LMP3 was dominated by Thorsten Kratz in the number 12 WTM car in the first half of the race, but a slightly sketchy stint from Leonard Weiss saw them drop to P2, which they ultimately held on to. The winning Spirit of Le Mans 31 had a quiet climb up the order until Antoine Duquesne decided it was time for the car to take the lead. Great drive by the 18-year-old Frenchman. My most anticipated drivers, Glenn Van Berlo and gentleman driver Anthony Wells, both had good performances, but ultimately had their respective races ruined by horrendous luck. Glenn Van Berlo at least had the opportunity for a sick charge from dead last all the way to top 2. GTE was rather chaotic, with crucial incidents disrupting some of the better battles. Michael Fassbender and the 93 Proton Porsches suffered in particular, as Fassbender got wrecked twice to dump them down the order after the actor actually drove a great opening stint at the sharp end of the field. Sister Cars 77 took a very convincing win out of Iron Link's Porsche number 60, which managed to take home P2 following a fantastic drive by Matteo Cressoni and Matteo Caroli, while Kessel Racing Ferrari 57 recovered to P3 despite Kimura also getting spun early in the race. Schandorf in particular was absolutely flying for that car squad, making up multiple positions in the middle portion of the race. The Le Mans Cup Series also had a race in support of ELMS, in which Team Virage found a success it very much couldn't in ELMS, with the 16 taking the LMP3 win out of Cool Racing number 87. Lippert Motorsports 19 clinched the win in GT3, ahead of VHC and the Spirit of Le Mans number 10. The SuperFormula title fight couldn't be any closer with now only 3 rounds left to go, since Red Bull Junior Liam Lawson managed to close the gap to title rival Ritomo Miata by winning the race in pretty dominant fashion. The Kiwi started from P2, patiently waited until the pit cycle to jump ahead into the lead and never really had to look back. Miata himself managed to step onto the podium, but had to settle for P3, bringing the gap down to a single point in the standings. Nujiri and Tsuboi failed to make an impact this weekend, reducing the chance of either influencing the title fight even further. But we can look forward to a lights-out battle between Lawson and Miata until the very end of the season. SuperFormula Lights, the primary feeder category to the top-level Japanese series, also raced at Fuji. Enzo Trulli, son of the former F1 driver, had his most impressive weekend yet, winning 2 races to gain back some points. A disqualification in race 2 unfortunately dampens the success a little. Hibiki Taira and Iori Kimura still firmly look like the championship favourites. Formula E had its critical penultimate doubleheader of the season and the on-track action showed it. Jake Dennis, Nick Cassidy and Mitch Evans were inseparable on track in their continuing fight for the title. Race 1 was characterised by a red flag in the middle portion when a spin from Sam Bird caused a massive incident, taking out a good third of the field in the process. Miraculously, all championship rivals made it through in one piece and could continue their battle until the very end. Evans in the Jaguar proved superior that day, finishing ahead of Cassidy and Günther, while Dennis had to settle for P4 after his team apparently made him use too much energy early on, meaning he was defenseless in the closing stages. Race 2 was heating up to be an amazing battle, as the trio started in the front three positions for an epic fight right off the line. Unfortunately, Evans soon locked up in a braking zone, taking out himself and severely hitting Cassidy as well. This ensured that Dennis would leave with big points advantage, but his drive was still incredibly impressive on its own, as he led every single lap of the race, something rather unheard of this year in Formula E. The championship thus looks more and more like a two-horse race, and Jake Dennis as a solid favourite, considering he has a 24 points gap over the Kiwi in P2. Evans' mistake probably ended his championship attempt, while Pascal Wehrlein and the Porsche just lacked the pace to fight at the sharp end, and will thus probably not make any more impact either. The team's championship is still wide open though, as Envision just about managed to take the lead from Porsche. Jaguar still looks like the best team across the board for my money, but only as long as Sam Bird can keep it on track. While Andretti in P4 still suffers from a struggling Andre Lotterer. And now for our Around the World quickfire section of the show. GT World Challenge Europe's Sprint Edition had its second round as well, racing around Misano twice this weekend. Acura's ASP88 AMG took the win in the first race, thanks to Raffaele Macciello running away from pole position, allowing teammate Boguslavski to cruise to the finish. The second race was rather WRT dominated, with the number 46 BMW taking the win to the delight of every Valentino Rossi fan out there. French piloted sister car number 31 also found itself on the podium behind the Come To You Audi number 11. I am very much looking forward to the next round coming up, as that'll finally give me the time to dive into the standings as well. GT World Challenge Asia had a race weekend with a pair of races around Suzuka. Absolute Porsche 911 continues performing, although this time with Klaus Bachler partnering Infra Puvazek, taking the win in race 1. The second race had an AMG 1-2 with the Craft Bamboo number 37 ahead of 888. ADAC GT Masters raced around the Nürburgring for its third round of the year and produced a new winning team in the second race, as the Grasser Lamborghini 63, driven by Benjamin Highties and Marco Mappelli, got its first win of the season. The top step of race 1 got occupied by Landgraf AMG number 48 for the second time in 2 rounds, which makes Salman Ovega and Elias Seppanen the only drivers to win 2 races so far. Christian Lundgaard took his maiden IndyCar victory on the streets of Toronto in pretty dominant fashion, securing maximum available points while snapping Alex Palou's incredible win streak in the process. The Spaniard still managed to secure P2 ahead of Colton Herta, ensuring the continuation of his mental average finishing position. Palou's Chip Ganassi teammate Scott Dixon keeps P2 in the championship by finishing just ahead of nearest rival Joseph Newgarden in P4. Eurocup 3 has completed the first half of its season in Zandvoort, with both races won by rapid Frenchman and former F4 champion Esteban Masson. Sebastian Aagaard was not quite able to take any wins, but had a consistent pace for a double podium finish, bringing him closer to second in the standings Mario Boyer. The Spanish F3 pilot had a disappointing first race, following an early mistake in tricky conditions, allowing Masson to run away even further in the standings. The Spaniard had to skip the second round of the season though, so the title would be a bonus anyway. Champions of the Future had its 4th round at Cremona this week, as always just out of the European Karting Championship round at the same track. Since the event is more of a warm-up, I won't bother with the championship standings and instead focus on the performance itself. The OK final was disrupted by a massive Lap 1 pileup, taking out multiple high-profile names including Mercedes Junior Alex Powell. Enzo Tanvanitschul, Red Bull Junior and reigning OK Junior World Champion, finally had his first win in the OK category, beating Prema teammate Kei Nakamura-Berta after a great defensive drive over half of the race distance. Young Dane David Walter finally had another good result, completing the podium ahead of Tony Kart drivers Luigi Coluccio and Sebastiano Pavan. OK Junior had Dries van Langendonk on the top step, continuing his fantastic form to finish ahead of Italian Jacopo Martinezzi. Superstar in the making Alexander Bondarev had to settle for P3, but will still be a major threat in 2 weeks' time, as the Ukrainian is looking to secure the European OK Junior title. My driver of the week is British Avalanche Andretti racer Jake Dennis, for his potentially championship deciding weekend in Rome. From almost beating his rivals in the first race, before a strategic error dropped him to P4, to recovering in the second race by taking a lights to flag victory in dominant fashion. True class, and it would be a well-deserved title for sure after a weekend like this. Next week's racing includes yet another F1-3 weekend at the Hungaroring, a bunch of different series including Freca and Italian F4 around Paul Ricard, and a chance for GTD to shine at IMSA's Lime Rock round. I am already looking forward to telling you all about it next week. Until then, take care and remember, racing is more than just F1.